What I will do is I'm going to share my phone screen with you because I want to start with that part. Let me see if I can show that to you. Can you see my phone screen in front of you? I don't know if one of you can react on that question. Yes, great. Thank you. Thank you, Lucas and Jacqueline. So it's all about the capturing data that has need to be as fun and as low barrier as possible. If you're talking about our solution, we have a front end, the so-called front end, which is the app, the mobile app. And via the mobile app, you will be able to capture the data that is required for your process. And the data managing part, which data you want to collect, you will be able to manage that from the portal side, which I will show you in a minute. And how does it look like if you are using a mobile app to capture data? Well, it's pretty fun and easy, as you can see. Just open the app, click on the plus button, and then click on the new caption part, which is, I'm going to start with the new template. And I've prepared the safety observation report template, the SOAR report. By clicking on it, I will be able to start with filling in the safety observation report in this case. Once you have clicked on the template, you'll be able to see an introduction page that you can customize yourself, of course. So it says, be alert, help each other at work and at home, anytime, anywhere. And by clicking on start, you will be able to start with filling in the form. So in this case, I need to fill in my first name and last name. Well, I can type it down, or I just can talk to my microphone. Stanley last name. Here you go. And well, I'm going to fill in the template, so you'll be able to see or get some feeling on how the solution looks like. So in this case, I will say that it's today, 10:45 a.m. This is the Amsterdam time zone. The location area I can choose from prefab, factory, ISBL, or OSBL. Well, I'm going to choose for the factory part, and I can choose also the observation categories, such as housekeeping and perhaps lifting and hoisting, rigging. And now I need to put the observation in text, and I will do that. This is a test observation which is now being created during the webinar. And what I can also do is, here you go. Yeah, continue. So as you can see, I'm required to add an evidence. In this case, I can say, well, I'm going to add evidence, and an evidence could be additional notes or perhaps a picture, because the picture can speak 1,000 words at least. And I can say, well, I'm going to take the photo directly, you know, and it's all about this part of this situation. And as you can see, it's a dangerous situation. If someone sits on that glass, it will hurt. And what you also can do is also adding some annotation if required. So I can say, well, I'm going to use the red color, and it's all about this part. Here you go. Once I've done that, I can move on to the next question. The next question is follow-up action needed or not? I think so. And direct action taken, yes. That is, I've cleaned the chair, the cups myself directly. Please refer to the evidence that the action has been done. Here you go. There's no proposed follow-up because I already have done that, and the company will be captions. Here you go. By clicking on next, I also need to fill in the follow-up questions. I won't do that. And now I can complete the form. And as you can see, by filling in a form, via an app, you will be able to, I think, save time. And now I've completed the form. What will happen is automatically a PDF report will be generated. And at the same time, the manager of my team will receive notification that I have completed a form. And the office will be able to see what kind of data has been collected then. So if I go back to the Zoom part, why isn't it working? That is odd. So I'm losing my presentation. I'm sorry for that.
Just a second. We'll be back with you in a minute. Just some minor technical difficulties.
Here you go. I'm sorry. As you can see, we are not that technical. And if I may take you to another tool, which is the back end, I will show you in short on how it looks like on the office environment. So I'm now going to log in as the admin. Here you go. And let me see what the password is.
Yeah, so Captions has a mobile app, but can also be accessed from any desktop. And this is what it looks like in the web version.
Yeah. So as you can see, you will be able to see first an overview of what data has been captured. You'll be able to see, well, there are some three observations created, how many captions, which is basically templates or forms have been filled in. But if I go to the overview, I will be able to see which templates has been completed by who. And in this case, if I click on the SOAR report, I will be able to filter on the SOAR report part, and by clicking on the PDF report, I will be able to see the PDF report that has been automatically generated and sent to the person who has filled in this case, myself. Well, this is basically automatically created and within a minute, as you can see. What I also can do is show you on how easy it is to create and manage the templates. For example, if I want to do some changes on the SOAR report part, just click on it and I will be able to go to that particular template, and here I will be able to edit it. So as you can see, it is pretty much forward, and by changing the question of the place of the question, you will be able to drag and drop. And by clicking on save, as you can see, now you have updated the templates. It's pretty easy and straightforward, as you can see. And of course, it is also important to have some reporting as well on that part. And by clicking on this, I will be able to go to the SOAR report part, and by filtering on certain periods as real time as possible as well. But let's say we take the 2018 numbers. We see that there is a peak in week 28. There are 59 observations has been reported, and by clicking on the certain questions, I will be able to see, to filter, and a bar chart on where the observations has been created. Well, in this period, it is the factory part, so we need to focus on the factory part regarding the improvement in this case, because there's a lot of safety observation reports created from the factory.
So these are all trends that you can identify very easily, as opposed to having to manually build these reports in Excel. And as you saw with the PDF report, there's a lot of uniformity, and by updating a template, you make sure that all your coworkers have access to this new version of the form, instead of having to worry about making sure that everyone has this new version on paper. Everything is digital and everything is instantly accessible.
Okay, so going back to the presentation.
Yeah, so I'll now walk you through some real-world examples of companies that decided to digitize their QHSE processes. and just tell you a bit about their story, and maybe it'll inspire you or it'll teach you something about their process. So to kick us off, I'm introducing Smithfield. They're a meat processing company based in Smithfield, Virginia in the US. The company was founded in 1936, right around the time the first EHS management system was introduced, and it hasn't changed much since. Smithfield did decide to make a change. They are the largest processors of pig and pork in the world. Before, Smithfield was using paper for the audits of the floor mats in their trucks. The trucks they use to transport their products are refrigerated, meaning that they can get quite slippery. The challenge of the company was that they wanted to add pictures to the audits, and they were currently having to manually enter the data from the paper audits into an Excel sheet, which was costing them a lot of time. Their goal with making a change was to increase the number of audits and therefore the level of safety in their facilities. Like I said, the floor mats could get quite slippery, so they wanted to make sure that all the mats were audited continuously, and based on the data that they were getting in, that they were able to act and make changes there where necessary to increase the safety of the floor mats. So the company decided that they wanted to use a mobile app to make sure that the audits were very easy, user-friendly, and that this way they could encourage their employees to do the audits by making it as easy as possible. The outcome was that by doing so, the data was processed in real time, and they were able to increase the number of audits through monitoring and by giving their employees a tool that was easy to use, which increased the level of safety in their facilities. The outcome was more control, more evidence, and Smithfield reports that in the year after implementation, they had no major incidents in their trucks. Secondly, I'd like to introduce you to Ampelmann. During this webinar, we've been talking a lot about companies who are digitizing from either an Excel-based or paper-based system. That isn't always the case. A lot of companies these days have taken some steps into digitizing their QHSE processes, but maybe aren't completely satisfied with their current setup. A good example of this is the company Ampelmann. They are a Dutch-based company here in Delft. The Ampelmann system is a high-tech offshore personnel transfer system, which allows easy, fast, and safe access from a moving vessel to offshore structures, even in high wave conditions. So they've built this system which transports people from offshore structures onto a vessel. Ampelmann was already using software, but the system was very rigid and overly complex. So Ampelmann was left with a lack of data, and whenever they wanted to make changes to the software, the workflow, or the structure, it was high cost, high effort, and it cost a lot of money, basically. So they decided to make a change. Their goal was to gain more insight into their daily operations to be able to continuously improve. So they decided that they wanted to look for a more flexible software system and one that was more adaptable to their process. The goal with looking for this new system was to gain more insight. They wanted more data from the field, from the people who were working in the offshore locations, and to be able to continuously improve with that data. The result is a system that is more flexible. So they were able to integrate it with their existing backend, and it makes it easy for employees to report on what is happening in the field, resulting in more insight, and the company is happy with the implementation of a system that is usable, scalable, and flexible. The IT manager at Ampelmann says, "We now have an app that is easy to use, and the result is real-time insight," which was their goal from the beginning. So those are our two real-world examples.